Alright everyone, it's de facto stick a fork in it, it's done time for the Rondesantis campaign. I realize that he has risen like a point in polling since his lowest point, which was last week. And so congratulations, you've shown that you're capable of gaining support. It's really just statistical noise more than anything else. I've been doing this for a while, but yes, the Ron DeSantis fans, they have a different take on it. Been sparring with them ever since Kristi Noem decided to endorse Trump, but pointed out, you're being a hypocrite. If Kristi Noem endorsed Ron DeSantis, you'd be singing her praises as a strong, empowered fellow governor to DeSantis who stood against the tyranny of the Hong Kong medical hysteria period, and you wouldn't be talking about her 58% rating from the Heritage Foundation. Okay, so the Reaganite FUDs don't like Kristi Noem so much. They prefer DeSantis. That's compelling to me. I really care about what some third-party group tells me about a potential candidate as opposed to simply looking at what they did or what they said. That's for the low-info voters, my dude. You may be one of them. Ron DeSantis is effectively done. There's a staggering admission here, link in the description, archived of course, that effectively boils down to that, effectively admitting we're not going to win this thing. By coming out and saying, in Iowa, so Ron DeSantis has spent tens of millions in Iowa. He's constantly stumping around there, sending proxies there. He does have disproportionately a bit more support in Iowa. Now they appear to be saying that about another state. I'll get into that. And his whole goal is basically, okay, I'm gonna keep playing second fiddle to Trump for the foreseeable future. I don't have the capability of winning against Trump in the primary at this level. What I have to do, if I'm DeSantis, is I have to go into Iowa, have a stronger than expected showing, win the state, and then roll it over into New Hampshire. My fresh win in Iowa gives me a bump there. In New Hampshire, it's a bit close, admittedly, compared to South Carolina or something like that, where Trump's 40 points ahead, it's close. He's only 20 points ahead there. Wow. And so I get a bump. I come in either first or a close second there. Again, I outperform. Going into South Carolina, DeSantis loses that. Then I match in Nevada. I go into Super Tuesday with just enough momentum that I don't lose my home state of Florida, and then the rest is history. Trump starts to look vulnerable. And so after that, I can scrape things together. That's the whole goal of the DeSantis campaign. It's effectively been mentioned before. Now they're lowering the expectation zone, saying, well, no, a close second place finish in Iowa would be enough. That would be okay with us. We just want to come in a fairly strong second. If Ron DeSantis comes in second place in Iowa, he should drop out the next day, because he's not going to get a bounce from that. Trump lost Iowa in 2016 against Ted Cruz. If you can't even perform better than Ted Cruz, you really think that your guy has a goddamn chance in hell? No, not going to happen. Now they're pivoting and saying that a strong, maybe we gain 5 points above the polling aggregate, which is possible, actually. You gain 10 points against the aggregate. Actually, Iowa is notoriously fickle. They've got a caucus system. I'm sure that DeSantis fans will be there like a bunch of evangelicals trying to convert people. But if we just come in a strong second, then we look forward to New Hampshire. Trump is vulnerable there. Well, your campaign's been telling me that the whole goal was Trump was vulnerable in Iowa. What happened? The polling didn't look so good for you? Did you see the latest Emerson poll and say, I don't think that our single-minded focus strategy is working. We're going to keep plowing away at it in a chaotic manner, though, anyway, hoping that we outride the polls just enough to be within plausible range of Donald Trump in the first state that he lost by a decent margin in 2016. Well, he's also the quasi-incumbent with a core support base that's at least in the low 40s. And somehow, magically, that allows us to win New Hampshire when we're also contending with Chris Christie. I don't think that that's going to happen, my dudes. I think Ron DeSantis is effectively done. And with that, the primary is effectively done. Vivek Ramaswamy rose up into the high single-digit range. He's viable. He'll stay in for quite some time, I imagine. But he's stabilized. Nikki Haley has risen up to around the same Ramaswamy range and will stabilize probably around the same amount. Mike Pence has never really been a thing. He looked viable before other better people got into the race. Better also-rans. He's stalled out. Who else is there? Larry Elder will probably drop before Iowa at this point, and not necessarily because he deserves to have to, because he didn't get on the first debate stage because the GOP decided to screw him. You see, he was too populistic in his mentality, too closely associated with Trump, so they didn't want him in. Fox will keep doing these shenanigans, by the way. The sad fact for the Desantis fans is that your dude did have a shot. And he was supported by people like me. I stated many months ago, and I have the receipts. When I was sparring with Max and the other moron DeSantis fans on Twitter, I love the fact that I can simply search back through my videos for DeSantis or Trump or something and find evidence that I can show them. Yeah, I have actually praised DeSantis before. I thought the Martha's Vineyard thing was great. He had a chance. I stated unequivocally I would support him in his presidential bid if he won in a fair primary against Trump. This was months ago. I stated that if he was running mate, I would be perfectly happy with that. There's still an outside possibility that happens, by the way. I don't know that either he or Trump would be willing at this point, but he did take Mike Pence in, so he might make the mistake of having DeSantis as a running mate when it would piss a lot of people off. But anyway, I stated that if he stood down and ran in 28, he'd be the heir apparent. If he ran now, lost, and ran in 28, that'd be fine. Water under the bridge as far as the MAGA crowd goes. By the way, that would be the case. People that are setting up to have like a long-term pitched animus between Team Trump and Team DeSantis, that's not the way that politics works. Most people, they don't do that. There'll always be a few hardliners. You can't help that. That happens in every primary. It's just that you're seeing it more now because of the age of the internet than you saw back in the fucking 90s with watching Fox or CNN. The lowered expectations are sheer. My problem with Ron DeSantis, and the reason why he's failing, is that he has poor strategic sense. His sense of timing, of what to say and how to say it, of issues to weigh in on, and it's inexplicable. As a governor, he's a cutthroat strategist. He's definitely on that strategic end as governor. Why the fuck is your campaign so poor? It doesn't make any sense. It's like everything that can possibly go wrong has gone wrong for the dude. And it's actually kind of sad because you would have been a perfectly acceptable, completely viable candidate for a 28 election, but he would have won. Ron DeSantis, had he chosen not to run now, or had he made better decisions in his campaign, would be probably the next president of the United States after Trump is likely reelected. And I'm going to say that at this point because I understand what's happening right now and how pissed people are. A second place in Iowa would doom the DeSantis campaign. He cannot, there is no path forward unless he wins Iowa. And he's not going to win Iowa. He's 25, 30 points behind in Iowa. His ability to compete there has slipped. The same appears that we don't have as much polling for New Hampshire, but the same appears to be true fundamentally there as well. I mean, if you're lowering your expectations by saying, don't worry, people, we still have a path forward if we don't win Iowa. That's basically an admission that you don't expect to win Iowa. It makes you look weak. Right now, weakness is not something that the out-party voting populace wants. They want strength, which means that they want Big Don, basically. That's about all. Peace out.